Hello everyone, thanks for joining in. Welcome back to our interview preparation series for SAP SuccessFactors Recruiting module. And in this series, we will talk about what are the different interview questions you are frequently maybe asked in the interview, but we are going very little details about it. So in the previous sessions, if you have attended or if you have not attended, like you can always check out my old videos, the recorded videos in the platform. So I will just quickly share you the link. This is the link which you can see, and this is the place. If you have missed any of the previous sessions, you can always look for the previous interview question preparation. This is a part of the course called SAP SuccessFactors Recruiter Experience. Okay, so just to identify, just to make you understand that this is the place. The course SAP SuccessFactors Recruiter Experience. In this, if you go, and in this we have a specific track for the interview preparation, just like we do have same thing for other modules as well. So if you go here, if you scroll down, there is a separate section called track number 10, right? So exclusively 10 is dedicated for the interview preparation series, and we have already have two sessions earlier. You can see that the videos is already there, interview preparation core configurations, and also we have provided the answers, okay, or what should be the ideal solutions for those questions and all. And in the previous session, it was more of a community discussion happened, so we didn't go for to details about the configuration part of it or solution part of it. Today we will be going more detail about it today. Now coming back to the videos, again the previous recording is already uploaded. So there were a lot of community questions. So people asked questions from their own. So I kept it on the community questions. Okay. So with that note, now let's move on to the today's topic. Today we will be discussing the questions is more of like you can say that the part this questions will be more from a implementations point of view. Okay, these questions there are around 50 questions, but I will not be discussing each and every questions, and I highly recommend to prepare these questions yourself, some of the questions, and you will be getting these answers also from the implementation guide. Okay, and there is an option here, you will be finding submit assignment. Okay, so in this 50 questions you can prepare, and for this track, okay, then once you are comfortable, then you can submit those answers, submit the assignment here. Otherwise, if you are preparing in a document, Word document, just to provide the link here so that I can review. Okay. And this is the 50 questions which you do have only for one topic of recruiting. Okay. So this is where you will be getting the detail about it. So now let's then get started. Okay. With the questions. Some questions already we have discussed. Some of the questions are related to the configuration and what are the things prerequisites. So let's discuss one by one. The first question is what are the prerequisites required whenever you are doing provisioning enablement in SuccessFactors recruiting, right? So definitely there are certain things we have to ensure. What are the configurations of bare minimum required where before you implement recruiting module? Okay, there are certain prerequisites and that must be enabled in your system, right? So that is definitely you have to ensure it is already there. Otherwise, you will not be able to perform everything whatever is required from a module point of view, right? So now with that note, let's see the answers as well. Anyone would like to try the answers? Moez, Poonam, I think, would you like? Or I think if you're not familiar, then this is the answer. Okay. This is a very generic answer I have provided here. You can also get these answers. Okay. I'll also tell you why it is required. Suppose you may be telling, okay, RBP is required, attachment manager is required, MDF metadata framework is required, GOFO, okay, or generic objects, question object management, these are required, right? But why these are required? If the interviewer asks, okay, you can also should be able to answer, right? So RBP is definitely is a platform functionality. You have to ensure those all the kind of permissions, okay, those are managed effectively. So for that reason, we require RBP. Attachment, why required? In a typical recruiting module, definitely whenever a candidate is submitting his or her CV, right? Or is there any offer letter is generated, or there is any background verification document is uploaded, any kind of documents you're submitting, definitely that will be go as an attachment, right? So definitely for that require attachment manager, right? So for that reason, in the provisioning, it must be also activated or enabled, right? Metadata framework, why we require? Sometimes if you require some kind of a custom objects, okay, for example, let's say you are conducting an interview and where you are asking the candidates to travel to your location, and the person requires accommodation, right? And the person requires travel tickets and everything. So those details you may put in the candidate application, right? And whether the candidate is localite or he is traveling from other locations for interview, okay? That means just giving an example. Okay, it could be anything, right? So in that case, you may require a custom field, maybe in the candidate job application form somewhere, right? So definitely in that case, you may follow an MDF object. Hmm. Same goes with your generic object also, right? These are some things definitely you have to have. It's a prerequisite whenever you're enabling in success factor, okay, in the recruiting module. Definitely you must. These are the different objects, these are different features that must be enabled in the provisioning. Okay. Same goes with the question object management or competency management, right? We require competency in the interview process, okay, or any job requisition you are creating, right? So you have to have what kind of competence is required for that particular job, right? Definitely. So you have to ensure. And against that, you will be also doing an assessment for the candidates. Whenever you are taking an interview, so you will be doing an assessment. So let's say communication skill is one of the competency. So if it is not maintained, okay, then you will not be able to assess that skills during the interview process. So for that reason, it is very important to capture all these prerequisite features, and you have to ensure these are enabled in the provisioning. Okay, so this is something you should tell in your interview process, or you should be aware of it. Okay, whether okay. So now coming to the next question, importance and purpose of enabling RVP. This is already I have discussed why we require an RVP. Just an extension to that. Definitely, there are different roles available in the recruiting module. So I have already opened a mind map. Let me show you a mind map so that you can easily understand, okay, what kind of roles available in a success factor recruiting module. Okay, so let's say the same case study I generally give to my students in the platform during hackathon. Okay, so these are the different roles possibility. A person can be a recruiter, a person can be a hiring manager who will be responsible for hiring for his or her department. There will be an interview panel, right? Okay, who will be taking the interviews for those for that candidate, right? So these are the possible different roles. Except definitely you will be having. Suppose you are getting the biodata or CV from a third party agency. Okay, so the agency also will be having a role. Okay, the agency will be having an access to your agency portal. Okay, and through that agency portal, they will be uploading the CVs of those persons or the candidates and all, and they will be tracking those candidates through that agency portal. Right. Similarly, candidate is the heart of your entire recruiting module. Okay, definitely. So there can be internal candidate, there can be external candidate. So internal candidates are no, they are your existing employees through the internal job posting. Might be they are be applying for a job inside your organization, but there can be maximum time we always prefer external candidates also. So if the talent is not available in your organization, definitely you have to go to the market and you have to source the candidates, right? So these are the possible roles. So definitely these are you have to have a ensure those respective roles are available in your organization. And so as I said, from a role point of view, these are the core thing: recruiting admin, recruiter, hiring manager, and the candidate can be internal candidate or external candidate, right? So how they are controlled? So they are controlled by your typical RVPs only. And how do you manage those RVP? So as usual, you have to perform using your typical manage permission role, manage permission group, by the way. Okay. So this is the place I will quickly show you also for your understanding so that it will be a recap also for you. Okay. So that is something It will be a recap, and it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, if you go to manage permission role or manage permission group, right? So in those access, you will be able to see what are the possible roles or possible, okay, groups you are having. Okay, and in that you will be able to identify which are my recruiting related roles and all. Okay, these are all controlled by your RVP. You can see there is a recruiter role. Okay, so if you go inside the recruiter role, okay, there is an option. So this roles grants access to the RCM processes and recruiting admin permission. Okay, and also this role will be having an integration because recruiting module is integrated with your onboarding module, right? And directly or indirectly, you will be having those access as well. Okay, so you can see these are the different. This is a recruiter permission. You can see that recruiter permission. Similarly, you can have other permission roles as well. So we will not be going detail about it. Those are already available in our platform. Okay, I will highly recommend. In case if you have missed any of these videos, you can. Those are very detailed explained in the operation track. Okay, in the operation track. Okay, there is a section. Okay, before you can see that form template settings, there are certain configurations, job requisitions, and everything, right? So I will recommend to go to the initial part of the this series. Okay, and where I covered almost. Okay, in the implementation track, more detail I have covered RBP in recruiting implementation and whatever the resources guide. Okay, community and simulation, so you can follow this one. Okay, for detail about it. Okay, so now coming back to the permissions. So these are different permissions you will be having as a recruiter, right? So the person should be able to, okay, so visualize, able to see all this permission, integration permission, background check permission, okay, initiate onboarding permission. Because once the person, the candidate has accepted the offer letter, you have to initiate the onboarding process as a recruiter, right? So for that reason, this is required. A lot of API permission is required also. Why? Because any kind of integrations you are building in or you are part of, okay, whether it is an assessment integration or it is your typical background verification integration, right? Any kind of integrations you are doing, and so all those cases, right, you have to have this API permission. So for that reason, we have all these API permissions with the recruiter. Okay, similarly your all this OData API, all the permissions you must be having. All the report permission to your create a report, run a report, okay, related to onboarding recruiting data, right? Similarly, for internal candidates, you should be able to access the employee details also, right? So for the reason, you can see only view access are given, not the edit access. Okay, depends upon the client requirement, by the way. Okay, so these are the different permissions we do have for a typical recruiter. And same thing is possible for administrative permissions. You can see all the details, EC related, manage hire, manage position, okay, manage recruiting. Okay, if you are having any duplicate candidates, okay, well, you should delete the duplicate, merge into a single one. Okay, or any kind of offer letter template you want to do some minor changes, you don't have to depend upon a consultant. Okay, suppose you are a super administrator and you are having access to that, right? So all these recruiters would be also having access to the agency portal, everything, to so that you can track the candidates who are coming through the agency, right? So all these things you will be having access as a part of your permissions, but there is no hard and fast rule. So depending upon the client requirements, it can be also customized. Okay, so this is something you have to understand in the RBP of a recruiting module. Okay, so same thing I try to explain here. What is the purpose and importance of enabling RBP as a prerequisite to configuring the recruiting? The answer is I have just given a hint. I have already shown you the system, what are the possibilities are there. It is crucial for defining what users in different roles are allowed to see and do within the SuccessFactors suite. And you can give an example. This is just a hint I have given, but you can give an example, like I have given an example of a recruiter, your hiring manager, your candidate. Candidate can be internal or external, right? You can improve the answer. It is not necessary you have to follow the answers which I have given to you. Okay, but you can also given your additional, you can add on more points, okay, into this answer. This is just a hint I have given you. Okay, this will help you to secure and control access of your data or functionalities, data integrity as per the organizational policy. This is the benefit or purpose of using RBP before you enable the other configuration in the recruiting module. It's very common for any other modules as well, but you should be able to answer them like this. Okay, this is a purely from a recruiting RBP point of view, right? So now the next one is an attachment manager. Already we have discussed in the first question why it is required. Definitely it is required for any kind of a CV. Okay, a lot of your entire recruiting module involves a lot of documents, right? Whether it could be a CV, it could be a background verification document, or it could be your offer letter, it could be your maybe interview notes. Okay, so a lot of documents are involved in the entire process. So you have to have the feature called as attachment manager, which is there in the provisioning, that must be enabled. So that is also I can say it is also important, right? For especially for resume, cover letter, okay, and all these things. So it requires attachment manager to be enabled. But from a storage point of view, where these are stored, so these are stored in your success factor. How do you see that? How do you track that? So suppose that is a question. So you have to go to the manage documents. Okay. So we have a centralized storage, but it is a limitation of 500 GB. Okay. So you are having, suppose you are a huge organization, you may require additional thing. Okay. But so this is a scenario where you can track. Okay. You can see in the manage documents. Okay. We have a lot of different categories of document, right? So like a resume, your offer letter, your work permit, cover letter. So this is a centralized place for different other documents as well. But from a recruiting point of view, which is important, resume, offer, okay, similarly the cover letter, right? These are the two, three documents we require. And against that, you will be also finding those details as right. Okay, can you request SAP to increase the document size more than 500 GB? Definitely yes. So, but for that you need to pay, okay, to SAP. And there is an option you can see 500 GB is the base allocation, right? So base allocation is a free. Freely SAP will be giving you 500 GB. And also there is an option called purchase storage. Okay, so let's say you are a very huge organization and you require some additional storage. You can ask to SAP, so you can buy, okay, maybe another 1 TB or 2 TB, right? So based on that, SAP will be charging you on a subscription basis. Okay, so that will be available here. Here it is showing in my system, it is showing 0 because I have only 500 GB I have been using. I do not require any additional storage, right? But SAP has given an option. And in case if you are not compliant, let's say your 500 GB is exceeded, okay? That means out of compliance. Even if you have seen in case in your Gmail or Outlook, right? Whatever the your personal level if you are using, okay? Recently it happened with me, and Gmail, my Google Drive asked me to remove the pictures and all the things so that otherwise they ask me to purchase additional storage at a personal level. Okay, so like for organization also same principle is applicable. If you're exceeding this or you're expecting that it will exceed, then definitely you have to buy an additional storage for it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. Thanks for the question. And by the way, also we do have an option, open text also option available if you are using open text. Okay, the same principle is also applicable. But whatever I am showing you, this is not an open text. This is a standard storage offered by SAP SuccessFactor complementary. Okay, so that also you can enhance or you can increase the limit based on your requirement, right? So this is where another thing which I told. But for that, as an attachment and all, so which can be access to the provisioning, and that is something you have to enable before you start your configuring the recruiting module. Okay, so this is the third question which we have discussed now, right? So now the next question is MDF. This is also I have discussed, like MDF, why we require, why it is a prerequisite. Any kind of a customization you are doing, right? Because it's a platform functionality, not specific to recruiting, right? So it can be any kind of a like custom functionalities, like as I told, it could be your travel, it could be, let's say the candidate is traveling from X location to Y location, right? And the person requires some accommodation and company is providing accommodation to the candidate. Okay, well, so in that case, so that can be a MDF object you can create. Okay, so that is something an example. Okay, so MDF by principle we already know in Employee Central and platform functionalities, it is always it provides a flexible and extensible framework. Okay, that allows. This is a terminology you will be using in the interview. Okay, so primarily you should not only say the customization. You should be always tell it's a flexible and extensible framework that allows for creation and management of custom objects. Okay, just like in SAP HCM, if you remember, we had a RISE-FW, okay, concept, right? But here we do have this MDF concept, which will be allow us to create an extensible framework, and based on our requirement, we can configure those, and it can be linked. Okay, not only created, it can be also linked to your custom data model, any kind of workflow, business rules, right? So it can be tailored as per the client requirement. Okay, so this functionality is nothing unique to recruiting module, but as you have seen in the Employer Central and the other modules also, MDF is a platform functionality, right? So that is also important from a recruiting point of view as well. Okay, so that is the answer you have to give it. Okay, so it's a generic concept, but you have to answer in a way so the interviewer will be happy. Okay, so that is something I always tell. You use the appropriate terms whenever you are speaking. It should not be only, otherwise the layman, there's no difference between a layman and as an interviewer, as a person who has mastered the module, right? So you have to use, for the reason I have not given the detailed answer, but you have to utilize this terminology. So the key focus is you can customize your answer, but ensure these wordings are there in your answers. Okay. Now coming to the next question, what is question object management settings and why it is an important prerequisite for recruiting, right? So question object management is nothing but, okay, it will be like, because in interviews, in a job requisition, sometimes you ask questions, right? So like, are you okay for travel? Okay, or have you completed your graduation, post graduation, some kind of a, you know, filtering question. Okay, so that, okay, so for the reason we require such a kind of a setting. Okay, and that will allow us, okay, for especially for the job requisition and job applications, right, to filter the candidates using those custom questions, those screening question rather, I will say. Okay, so that screening question will be helping you to filter those candidates the initial level itself, right? For the reason you have to ensure, you have to understand the concept of question object management, which is again in the your provisioning you will be getting. You have to enable that. Okay, so that is the purpose. Mostly it will be used for screening candidates, or you are requiring some additional information regarding the candidates. Okay, for the reason we require this question object management setting. So now going back to the next question, how do you enable this? This is a very straightforward question. I will not go through it, because this kind of question we do not expect in an interview. But suppose you, this is for your knowledge only. What are the steps, maybe? What are the steps you follow? Okay, this is just a recap question for you. How do you navigate to the core recruiting solution enablement? How do you do that? So you can tell that company settings, and inside company setting, recruiting setting. By the way, these questions, even if we do not expect, in one of the interviews which I appeared long back in one of the German company, I have appeared, and but literally they have asked this question. They have given a system also to me, show me, right? So I don't think these questions will be generally asked, okay, but it is good to know, right? So, oh, even for a knowledge point of view, it's important, but I do not expect this as a question in an interview, right? How do you enable all these things, right? Yeah. Now coming to the next question, what is your competency library? This is again a question related to the platform functionality, because competency is something, a platform functionality we also use in other modules, right? Which all modules we use competency? Can anyone tell? In success factor.
PMGM.
Exactly. So you answered it correctly. Yeah, PMGM. Because in the competency, definitely there you will be utilizing for any kind of whenever you're doing any goal settings and all, right? So you will be against those competencies. Definitely, you will be rating yourself. What is your let's say communication skill, stakeholder management, right? Or it can be like influence building, right? It can be any competencies. Okay, but those competencies we do have a centralized library, and where exactly we maintain. Nowadays, this has been evolved, right? But so we are having more new concepts coming up, skill and skill based framework. A lot of new things are coming up, right? But competency library still we use it, and in the context of recruiting, why it is important? So how do you answer it? So all kind of competency definitely we maintain in success factor as a platform level. And how they are utilized? They are utilized in the job requisition. In the job requisition, why? Because in the job requisition, we define those competencies for this job requisition. So let's say you are posting a job for a let's say senior manager sales. Okay, then you require certain skill sets, certain competencies for that particular job, right? So in the job requisition itself, you will be capturing those competencies so that whenever the post job is posted in the job portal, the candidates will be seeing, okay, these are the competencies required for this job, right? So he or she will be assessed whether they are good in that or not, right? Similarly, during the interview process, okay, as a part of the interview, the candidates will be assessed based on their competency, and the interviewer, they will be doing an assessment based on those competencies, right? Same goes with a job profile builder also. Whenever you are, if it is enabling it, definitely these are taken care. So this is something, right? So if you are already enabling the job profile builder, no need to enable the competency again, because separate, because already it's a part of that, right? So for the reason, competency library management is also very important question. Okay, is there any TIH role in recruiting and onboarding? Okay, so TIH, people who do not know, the talent intelligence hub, right? So which is, you can see the advanced these things which I have taken already a session for that, right? But from a TIH point of view, okay, if you go for your recruiting point of view as well, okay. So let me show you. So from a TIH point of view, so let me see if it is enabled in my system or not. I do not know. Let me check. Intelligence. I don't think so. This is enabled. Okay, so someday or some other day I will show you. Okay. But a talent intelligence hub is actually, it's a new functionality. When I say new, it has been evolving for the last 2 to 3 years, right? So that is something I will always recommend. Okay, so there is a guide for it. Talent intelligence hub, gens hub. There is a person from SAP. So she has been working in a research consultant. So you will be getting all the latest update from here, from her blog. Okay, I will okay. So TIH in our course, it will be very, can I know the path of the TIH? Yeah. So I have covered it. It's okay, but I need to check it out where exactly it is. It should be here somewhere. Talent intelligence should be here towards the job requisition, language of family, job requisition, template, talent intelligence hub, integration center. I'll figure it out and I will let you know. Okay, so I have kept it here, as well as I think it is part of the platform foundation, I believe. Okay, so yeah, I think it's a part of the platform foundation. Let me go there. So you will be getting there in the platform. Most probably, people who have attended platform foundations, so it should be there. Okay, just a minute. Position management, recruiting, platform foundation course is there, right? So it should be part of that. Okay, so if it is not, just let me know. So go through that. Okay, platform foundation hackathon. Okay, hackathon which I conducted the platform foundation for that. Okay, so it should be there also. Let me check it out. Okay, so I will, if it is not there, let me know. I think it is there already. I have already uploaded that video. Okay, so this should be there, and you should be able to access that as well. Okay, yeah. TIH needs separate license. Where are the competency skills are maintained these days? Yeah, very nice question. Okay, so the talent intelligence hub actually. So this is something an interesting topic. If you go here, right? So talent intelligence foundations. Okay, so still it is evolving. Okay, so there is a concept called skill ontology. Okay, so previously it was called skill ontology. Okay, and now they are calling it as a talent intelligence foundation. Okay, but it is not a skill library. Okay, so this is something you have to. This terminologies are keep changing. Okay, so very careful whenever you are talking about it. Okay, so now coming to the talent intelligence foundation, this is the diagram which I was always referring. Okay, it is not only always skills, but also your interest. Okay, but also there are some other attributes as well. Okay, so this is what you have to ensure. So regarding the licensing point of view, because these are still in the early adopter phase, okay, people have not seen all these things in the live. Okay, still the experiments or testing is going on, right? The certain things, to some extent, whatever the old edition, you can still access it. Okay, but there are certain things you have to, like your skill plex and a lot of other things as well. But this is where your these days people are maintaining. Okay, when it comes to the talent intelligence hub, so I will be implementing in next 2 to 3 months. Okay, so I have also not implemented, although theoretically I know, I'm aware of it. Okay, but I will be giving more information during that time, because this is something still lot of evolved. It has evolved over the last 3 years. Okay, and they keep on changing these things. Okay, but when you say where these are maintained, so you can see these are at the SAP as at present, they are capturing these three things: skills, competency, and custom attribute. But there are certain things in the roadmap, like education, certification requirements, and some additional things. Okay, so the SAP will keep on adding those things in the system, right? So that is something. Okay, we have to ensure these are okay. So this is where I will recommend this link. I will be recommending. Okay, so you can always refer this, what is available, what is not available at this moment. Okay, so from a, this is again wherever you can see GA and early adopter, that means it is not available for every customer. GA means general available. Okay, it is already available, but only for the early adopter. Okay, the customers, few customers through which SAP is actually taking the feedback, right? So only those people who, will be able to take part of it. And you can see a lot of new things actually coming up, right? There is something called skill inference. Okay, and they were using a concept called Microsoft Graph. Okay, there is a concept graph. People who have studied data structure in their engineering or any masters, computer science, something like that, there is a concept called Microsoft Graph methodology. Okay, so that is also people have been using in this concept. It's a very much, it's a more holistic, not limited to your skills or competency only, but also what you're aspiring for. Okay, maybe you are having a skill set in some place or some areas, but you are aspiring, you are having a potential. Okay, you are having interest, and those things were never captured in the earlier framework, right? For that reason, SAP has evolved this, and they still keep on working in this area. And I will share the link in the platform in this chat actually, and you can bookmark it and you read about it. Yeah, so definitely. So no problem. So I will connect with you, yeah, separately, Suranjan sir, no problem. But meanwhile, you can just all of you just check the link, and okay, you can yeah. Hmm. Yeah. So this is something we have to look after. So this blog is very nice blog, and keeps on updating this. But this is the diagram which you have to remember. Okay. So because previously we are using the JPB, only the job profile builder. Now JPB was having your job family, job role, all these things. But nowadays additional things came up. There is a specific attributes library for skill library. Okay, competency library. Now these are separate. Okay, there are related to job attributes. There are certain things which are people attributes. Okay, so all the things are now interrelated, and they are coming under one umbrella called as talent intelligence hub. Okay, so regarding the, yeah, licensing and all, I am not sure. I think it's a separate license. I need to confirm. Okay, so yeah, any other questions you have,
Yeah,
Suranjan sir?
yeah, yeah. Niladri, I have a question. Like, let's
Yeah.
say job profile builder.
Hmm.
Here, where suppose a company doesn't have competency framework already defined for them.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
and they have also not defined correctly the job profile builder. Okay.
Hmm.
So in this
Hmm.
case, normally these activities done by a third party consultant to do the
Yeah.
analysis and study the job and then define
Hmm.
these groupings, or it is the company who does themselves?
It's a very nice question. This is a both way can be done. If the company has a capability, I use the term capability, right? So if the company has the capability to do, to do that, definitely they can do that. Generally, it's a OD job, okay, organization development. Okay,
True.
generally people
True.
who are there are specialists also. People do PhD in those areas also, OD, organization development and all. If
Okay.
the company has someone who is expert in that, right, they can do it. Otherwise, most 90% of the cases I have seen these are outsourced. Okay, like there are so many companies available outside. Even in my previous company, Deloitte, KPMG, they used to do that. We had a separate, you know, there is a because I was part of the consulting who are implementing of success factor, but there was a advisory team also we had in our competency called as a human capital advisory services. Okay, and in that we had a team called OD, organizational development team. There is a
Okay.
change management team, there's a communication team, right? So those team were involved in those, and those people are working together with success factor consultant. It should not happen they were explaining something which is not doable in success factor. It should not happen. Okay, so in that case you have to work closely with those advisory consultants, okay, or organizational development consultants, right? And they will be it is a project itself, okay, for a huge I have seen it for one of the oil and gas company in the public sector in India. They took almost 3 months to do it. Okay, so
Yeah.
this is a huge exercise. Okay, and itself is a mini project, I will say, project within a project.
No, it's
Okay.
a big project. I was involved
uh,
in one of those projects in one of the company
yeah.
with a third party consultant. Basically, Ernest and Young was doing the job
Okay, okay.
to define the competencies for that organization, and it took
Hmm.
3 years to complete that activity.
No, it will take because those people will not be not only giving those competency, but
Yeah.
also they will be explaining what should be the job description. Although these days these are very easy, you can utilize AI tools like ChatGPT and all. You can leverage those tools, but those are those. It could be a specific job also earlier. Okay, now
True, true.
now
No,
those.
you need to have the actual business
Hmm,
knowledge to define this,
hmm.
actually.
Yes, industry,
So
industry.
industry
You're
knowledge
working
is
for a.
required. Like
Hmm,
somebody is in, say, somebody is in
hmm,
the consumer industry. So in this case, they need to
hmm.
know what is the job of a consumer manager.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
that's how this is very, very, very difficult task. It's not easy task. So my
Yeah.
other question is that
Hmm,
unless the TIH Talent Intelligence Hub is active, so people are
hmm.
still using job profile builder, correct?
Yes, yes. Actually, it's a subset. Actually, TI is a bigger umbrella, as I
True.
said. If
Yeah.
if you have seen the diagram, okay. So TIH is an umbrella term for everything, for which is coming as a bigger umbrella, and still people can still continue. It's okay. So it's okay to start with a job profile builder, job family, job role. This is also a very good big activity.
I
Okay.
think I
So if,
think Moise
mm,
can switch off his video because he's, I think, walking with the phone because of this.
yeah, yeah, I have not observed that. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
his
Okay,
video is on. So
okay.
okay, my another question is the not question really.
Mm.
So where do you access this talent intelligence hub in the success factor screen? You
Huh.
can go directly to
So,
the.
in the success factor, if you go here, talent intelligence hub, I think it is not activated in my system, by the way, in the
Oh.
instance. Okay. So you have to go to the upgrade center. Okay. Let me try it out in front of you. If it is there, definitely I will.
Manage
Okay.
talent intelligence hub. Is the
Manage. Is it there already? If it is not, but it is not. If
I
it is not enabled, it will not come, right? So let me check.
yep
I
yep
think
yep.
it's
Uh,
manage
talent
talent.
intelligence.
Talent. No, it
Hmm.
is not enabled in my
The
system. Okay.
capabilities are there. Center of capabilities. I think it's there.
Center of capabilities is there, but the thing is, it is not here only upgraded, right?
Yep.
So I have to check. Okay, if it is all not upgraded, maybe in the next session I will be able to show you. But I have also not verified this one in the upgrade center. So you can see, oh yeah, it is there. You can see Talent Intelligence Hub. Okay, this is a recommended upgrade. It is coming at the
Okay.
top, right? So I will go here, okay, learn more and upgrade now. Okay, so I will just check it out if any permissions, okay, are required and all. Whatever permissions are required, you can also verify from here, right? So you can see capability library structure. Any of the permissions are required. to perform. Okay, so I will simply go here, and what are the additional things they just explained, right? What are the additional things require, how you are, if you are using a JPB or center of capabilities, right? How do you migrate or upgrade to talent intelligence hub, right? There are some do's and don'ts they have given here, right? And you can simply upgrade now. Okay, so I do an upgrade. Okay, I will say yes. It may take some time.
Oh,
So
great.
your system is, yeah, your system is being upgraded to talent intelligence hub. Please check the status here. You must log out and log in to check the. So this is, I think, today I will not be able to show you, but in the next session I will try my best to showcase. So upgrade, once it is upgraded, I will be able to see. So I can always check it out from here, maybe. Okay, so now it is going on. Okay,
Yeah.
talent it. So it is failed actually. I don't know. So what could be the reason? Maybe
Mm,
something is missing. Okay, so
Authorization.
it could be authorization. Maybe some prerequisites is missing actually. Okay, I think so. Mandatory pre-upgrade check steps failed. Please check the status of the checks from the check tool. They're asking me to check the check tool. Okay, so let me go to the check tool. So check tool maybe. Talent intelligence of migration job. Error warning applications migration. Ideally, it should be part of migration. Let's see. What is that? Talent intelligence hub. Talent intelligence hub. So go here. So okay, there are certain things not done in my system. These are all today's date. You can see July 18th only. So a
Mhm.
lot of things, lot of work is not done in my system. By the way, skills are not mapped to the entities in job profile builder. So my system job profile builder itself is not complete, right? So for the reason, so this is something they are saying. Migration of skills and skill mapping to talent intelligence is not supported at this time for any assistance. Okay, this is a they're asking to support ticket, but unfortunately in the demo instance I cannot do that. So this is something definitely I will look into in my actual project. But this is the place. If you're getting any issues, you can always evaluate. Okay. So, but it's the process. Okay. JPB also I'm having some issues. Okay. I can see that. Okay. Some not
So,
successful.
so
Yeah.
does this mean that JPB is actually skill mapping and other things are prerequisites to implement talent intelligence hub?
Yes, yes. There are some pending things
Yeah.
because okay, without that you will not be able to do it. So in case you can also see, I have not migrated the 64 entities. Okay, so these
Mm.
also require. These are all behavioral competency. Okay, so
Okay.
these are the behavioral competencies I have to ensure. These prerequisites actually I have to fulfill. Okay, unless and
Mm.
until I'm fulfilling these things, I will not be able to
Mm.
enable it. Okay, you
Very
can
nice.
see still I can enable, means I will not be able to enable it. Okay, so that is something is a prerequisite you have to understand. Hope it is clear. It's through an upgrade center only, but you have
Yeah.
to ensure your prerequisites are met. Actually, there are some pre-migration checkpoint. So these three things, in my case, it can be different in your system. Okay, so you just verify it, and once it is done, definitely you will be able to perform the talent intelligence hub. In earlier videos, I have already covered. In my other system, I have already that, but that system at present I do not have now anymore. So you can watch the previous recording for that. So yeah, definitely you will be getting those answers. Okay. Anyway, I will be implementing it in the next 2 to 3 months, and I will explain more that about it. Okay. So now coming
Uh,
back to the question
I have a
series.
question here. Anurag.
Yeah, please go ahead.
For example, in our system, we have only GPP. Then
Hmm.
how can we delete the competencies? For example, we need to delete the competencies. So how
Hmm.
can we go for that? We need to delete the competencies via GPP.
So you do not have to delete anything, by the way. They do not say anything to be deleted right here. It
Uh,
has to be mapped only, right? Isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, for example, if you want to delete any competency, then how can we go?
Hmm. Competency, you want to manage it, or then you have to
Delete.
use. Okay. So in that case, the library only. In that library only, you can utilize. Okay. So I
Uh-huh.
don't think in my system I am able to show that, right?
Okay,
But in the
okay.
competency library itself, okay, you should be able to check out, and from that you have an option. right? So I think the
Job
simulation they having
profile
that option.
builder or
I am not sure whether they have given these options here in the here. Have you checked it out?
no, I did not check out.
In the recruiting and this most probably it should be there. Job requisition recruiter. I need to check it out. Otherwise, I will explain maybe in the next session. I will keep it. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So yeah. So I will explain that in the next session maybe. Okay. Just to keep me reminding, send a message in the group also. I will okay
Sure.
remember and I will answer it in the next session maybe. Okay. But for that I require something. I have to check because this is not a prerequisite. I have not fulfilled. Maybe some other system I will show you. Okay. If it is there. Hmm. So now coming back to our question. So this is the competency library. So next question is what is the purpose of enabling relative dates for form routing setting? Okay, so what is a form routing by the way? So everything is a form here. In the templates we use it, right? Whether it is a job requisition or any kind of okay approval it is requires, we have to ensure there is a deadline. Okay, otherwise the requisition will you know, it will be evergreen. Okay, that will be open for every day. It should not happen like that. We should be having a particular date, right? Even if you have seen any requisition, it will say that, especially in the recruiting module, if you go, okay, there will be a timeline, right? So the timeline will say that this job posting will be valid till next 1 month, 2 months, like that, right? And over a period of time, it will not. Even if you have seen in the LinkedIn, people who have posted the job and all, after a period of time they're no longer they are accepting the any candidates after a period of time, right? So if you see here, this is the requisition status, you can say, and average days open. Okay, what is the number of days open, what how many days it has been open, you can see 7 days. Aging of the job requisition you can see here, right? And some of them are already closed, we do not see that anymore. Okay, and some of them are not posted. Okay, so here you can track all the job requisition, and basically the when the job is, if you go to the job posting, and you can find out like how many days that job has been posted and how many days it will remain open. Okay, so that the candidates can apply. You can see here, this is very old date by the way. Okay, what I can do generally, there is no posting ended, right? It should not happen like this. Okay, so ideally in such cases mostly we posted with the posting ended. Okay, so that people can, you can extend it later point of time, but we should have always started and ended, right? So that within that period only people will be able to apply, right? So you have to be very careful whenever you are doing these things. So that is why for every relative dates, whenever you are doing any kind of a form routing and all, so even for any approvals also, you should give a timeline, 3 days, 5 days, like that, right? So it should be approved in those stipulated time, right? So that is why we have to have a relative dates settings. Okay, and where would you get it, all these things? Form routing settings. So if I go here, let's say form routing. Okay,
Road
so
form.
most route form, yeah, route form, if you go even there, right? So here you will be finding, right? This is something different forms, which form you will be going to use. So select an action summary, all the things will be here, but
Yeah, this
mostly
is
in
the
the manager.
form ID which should be present in the
Huh.
inbox, and from that we will go.
Yes, it could be template also, like which template you will be using. Let's say this is your I think I do not have an option here. Basically, let me see. Job requisition related template I'm looking. Let me type requisition. No, I don't think there is something related to that. Mostly these are performance template and other templates I see. Talent review, performance review. Okay. But this is nothing related to this, to my this thing. Total rewards, performance review. Hmm. But what you can do in such cases, there is a recruiting settings actually, by the way. Manage recruiting settings. Okay. And if you go there, I think it should be there. Okay, manage recruiting setting. If I go there, there is a section, Control F, form. Form. Just a minute. Form template settings, offer letter, form templates. I think it is not here. Okay. So enable relative dates for form, enable relative dates. Let me check. There is something I have seen somewhere. Relative. Okay. No, I don't think this is not the configurations. Okay. But the thing is, why it is required for any kind of, it's a generic question, by the way. Okay. Why it is required for any kind of a job requisitions if you want to. Okay. Main idea is to streamline the process with a clear deadline. Okay. So that people who are approving or were doing this activity, they should be able to complete those in time. Okay. So that is the intention behind it. Okay. So maybe if you are having a recruiting module access, you have to just, this is a task for you. Okay, maybe you can check it out where exactly these relative dates are actually controlled, right? That is something you can find out and let me know. Okay, so this is something, a task for, okay. Now the next question is where can document attachment settings are configured? Additional compatibilities are there, okay, in the admin center, right? So this is again, I have already discussed. So we have already seen that. So document attachment settings, you can, okay. So beyond, previously it was 100 GB. So now it is 500 GB. Okay. So if you want to extra, definitely you have to purchase extra licenses for that. So that is something we have already discussed. Okay. So now similarly, storage limit also, this is, I have to revise this answer. It should be, earlier it was 100 GB. Now it is 500, by the way. And if you need more than 500, definitely you have to have a, you have to purchase the additional storage from SAP, right? So that is something you have to buy from SAP, right? So that is something you have to tell to the customer, right? If you want to, they want to buy additional, they have to talk to SAP customer success team. So now the next question is, what is the recommended approach for enabling optional recruiting settings and provisioning during the implementations, right? So as I say, these are optional. There are certain things which are optional, right? Like during your, okay, implementation, best practices, what clients actually require. You have to understand their business processes. Okay, it should not happen that client doesn't require certain things, you have enabled that, right? So maybe the client is not having any agency. Okay, then you don't have to implement that. Maybe later on, whenever they are doing any agency, they're hiring through any agencies, then they will be enabling that. Okay, so enable only whatever is necessary for your customer. Okay, then you enable the additional whatever things are required. Okay, so accordingly you can plan your scope of work during your implementation, right? So that is something we have to ensure. Okay, so that is the recommended approach. For always start small. Whatever is really required for the customer, you have to start with that only. Okay. Now the next question is, how does enabling the use email as external applicant user ID setting impact the candidate experience? Okay, so where you will be finding this? Use email as a external applicant user ID. So let me check if it is there. Use email. Let me check it out. No, it will not come here. I will do a control F. Use email. By the way, these things have changed a bit. Okay. So if you go here, email settings, candidate profile, all the settings. So these are the settings where we enable whatever the required for a candidate point of view, interview point of view, right? So this is the place where you can find out job requisition, internal to candidate profile conversion, external to internal conversion, their candidate search settings, right? So this is the place where you can come, okay, whatever is required for your, based on the requirement, you have to enable it mostly, okay? So that is something you have to take care. And what is the question? How does enabling the use email as external applicant ID setting impact the candidate experience? Suppose you are using an email ID, what will be the advantage and what is the disadvantages? That is the question. Okay. But if you're using an email, it will be much easy to simplify the candidate experience by allowing candidates so they can use their email address as a user ID whenever they would like to, okay, utilize their log into their candidate portal. They will be utilizing their email ID rather than you don't have to create a user ID for them, okay, separately. So for the reason that is a, so this is also a setting you have to explore and let me know where exactly the setting is there, okay, in the recruiting module. Okay. So I think there are a lot of other questions as well. Okay. But what we will do, you go through the other questions as well. We will continue from here in the next session from 13, 14 onwards. Okay. And meanwhile, you can also identify those respective answers. Okay. From the implementation. I actually have taken these questions from implementation guide only. Okay. So, but at the same time, you have to also understand from a system point of view. Okay. From where exactly these configurations are there, right? So that is something, okay, you have to take a screenshot maybe during your, whenever you're submitting the answer, okay, you can try that. Also, there's an option, okay, you can submit those answers with a screenshot and everything, okay. Then you submit your assignment here, okay, you can do that. Otherwise, in the comment section, if you have any questions, you can also post it here, okay, and I will be able to see that if any, okay. So, okay, so we will continue this. There are a lot of questions, especially from interview point of view, okay. We will discuss, it's not possible to discuss everything in a single day, although I have captured all the other questions also chapter wise. Okay. So if you want to track them, you can always track them in the track number 10 only. Okay. So this is the part 2 still we are discussing. So it will take another 2 to 3 sessions to cover the part 2. Similarly, if you go to the part 3, part 4, part 5, like that. So you will be getting all other questions as well. I don't think any interviewer will be asking more difficult questions or more deep dive question beyond this. Okay. If you have prepared very well, okay, I don't think it will be very difficult. Okay. For part 3 onward, there will be little less questions. Okay. So not like 50, 60 questions, but there will be some reduced. I have reduced the question because there's a little small chapter. Okay. Based on the complexity, actually number of questions will vary. Okay. So there are around 19, we'll be having more sessions, okay, on this, and you can get, okay, I will be providing you answers as well. Okay. So if you see for some of the modules already I have provided the answer, okay, you can verify, but do not try to remember you these answers like this. Okay. Some of them answers I provided, some of them I'm yet to release those answers. Slowly I will be releasing the answer subsequently, and you will be getting those answers in your platform itself. Okay. But try to check these things, whatever I'm saying. You don't remember all these things by heart, rather verify. So always check it out. If you also, if possibilities are that there can be some minor small changes also, if you find some the answer is not accurate or no, you just notify me, okay, and I will look into it. This is something I have taken directly from the guide. Okay. So directly you can follow, and yeah, so this will be helpful for your revision, or if you're doing any preparing for any interview or any project interview, whatever may be, right? So these answers will be helping you. Okay, I will be releasing the answers slowly, okay, one by one. So I think, hope it was helpful, and I will not be, as I said, these sessions are actually a crash course. Okay, so for the reason I not only focus on the question and answer, I also showing you system. So that is a recap or a revision for even if you have not attended my full live sessions earlier, right? Which is you might have missed. Okay, so it will be a recap for you. And same thing I will be doing it for other modules as well. So you can expect around 5, 7 sessions for uh, at least in a month. Okay, for means you'll be having different modules also, and accordingly also we'll be having a bootcamp session accordingly. So these sessions are actually interview, you can say this is an interview bootcamp, okay, where exactly we focus only on the one track, track number 10. That is, you're focusing on the interviews preparation only. Okay. So the same thing I am going to do in other modules as well. Okay. This is something which I have planned, but I couldn't do. But now recruiting at least stabilized in terms of implementations and operations. Almost we have created a lot of sessions. I don't think this will be going to change for the next 2 to 3 years much, except those TIH and all. Other than that, this concept is remains same. So for the reason, we will be shifting our focus towards interview certifications and all, right? And this will be helping you to crack any interviews in the upcoming days. Okay. Or even if you're not cracking it and looking at the interview, but at least it will be a revision for you, right? So that is the intention. behind doing this sessions. Okay, and we'll be conducting more such sessions in the coming days as well. Okay, so thanks everyone for joining in and staying till the end, and looking forward to meet you in the upcoming sessions as well. Okay, thanks Moise, thanks Ike, thanks,
Thank you very much, sir.
thank
Thank
you,
you.
take
Thank
care.
you.
Hope it was helpful, and let me know if you have any further queries also in the group. Okay, and so we will be conducting much sessions regarding this, and it will be much helpful, okay, for every purpose. Okay, take care, bye bye.